The next Apple event is just around the corner. We're expecting the 10th of September, but there is also a presidential debate that day, so who knows, it could be any time. And that's when we'll get to see the next generation of Apple devices, and it looks like it could be a packed event, so let's talk about it. We could have as many as 4 different product categories coming at the event, which is wild. iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches and AirPods all at the same event. And there's likely to be another event before the end of the year too, so let's get started with the AirPods. It seems like we'll be seeing the 4th generation of AirPods, but with that line splitting into 2 separate new models, both with a visual overhaul and bringing shorter stems and an updated look, USB-C charging and enhanced audio quality. The lower cost version of these appears to be a direct replacement for the 2nd generation AirPods, Apple's current budget option, with a more expensive version bringing active noise cancellation to a sub AirPods Pro model for the first time. Now, will the AirPods Max get an update? There's little word on this, but from what's been rumoured, the update would be minimal, possibly some new colour options and replacing the old lightning-shaped hole with the unbelievably superior hole for electricity, USB-C. Just like people who subscribe to my channel are unbelievably superior to all the level 1 peasants who aren't. So, you know, click the button for a promotion from peasant to mob boss or something. Next up, the iPad. After last year's distinct lack of iPad launches, we've already seen an overhaul of the iPad Pro and the iPad Air models this year, with the thin Pros that are lighter than Airs and massive Airs that are too big for your bag. Plus, the iPad 10th generation got a $100 price cut to where it should have been in the first place, while the 9th generation was killed dead, taking the home button with it. Remember the home button? You can still visit it in Apple stores by going to the iPhone SE section, which still has basically the same design as 2014's iPhone 6, really. But the iPads this year will be the 11th gen and finally refreshed iPad mini, which I may need. While these won't be dramatic updates, at least in terms of looks, they'll both likely pack the brand new A18 chip under the hood, giving them Apple Intelligence goodness, just like the enormous iPad Pro and iPad Air brothers. There's also a decent chance, I think, that both get compatibility with the new Apple Pencil Pro, and the iPad mini will likely get a storage bump up to 128GB, in line with the iPad Air, to justify its higher price tag, along with the laminated display that the base 11th gen model won't get. Obviously, iPhone 16 is the biggest story here, so we'll talk about the Apple Watch Series 10 and keep you waiting. Sorry, I can be a bit of a tease. We've heard for years that Apple was on the brink of a huge update to the Apple Watch with a thinner, flatter design, a new magnetic watch strap attachment, and who knows, even a round watch face. But the most recent rumours suggest that Apple Watch will get a bigger display. That's basically been the upgrade that has happened every 3 years, with the Series 4, the Series 7 and now the Series 10 being the first to feature each increase. And what an increase. The smaller option this year is reportedly going to be the size of the previous large model at 45mm, with the larger one being 49mm, matching the Apple Watch Ultra. So if you like small dainty watches, sorry? Apple is also, it seems, bringing an actually new chip to the watch this year, which will also come to the Ultra model, along with a rumoured blood pressure monitoring system and potentially sleep apnea detection too. And the 3rd generation SE is set to potentially have a plastic case and a newer chip, probably using the displays from the last generation, from the Series 7 to the 9. But I made a whole video about that the other day, which you can watch up here. Okay, you've waited long enough. I just need to make sure that you were listening earlier when I said about subscribing before you were allowed into the iPhone bit. If you forgot, now's your chance. The base iPhone 16 and 16 Plus keep the 6.1 and 6.7 inch OLED displays that you all loved so much last year, along with the 60Hz refresh rate that Android lovers are so enthusiastic about. They'll get a kind of retro-looking vertical camera setup on the back to enable the spatial video recording, so when we get a reasonably priced Vision headset, you'll really want to buy it and watch the stuff that you already captured. Captured with the capture button. See what I did there? That's a dedicated button that is all about the camera. And it could feature multiple pressure levels like camera shutter buttons, and even maybe swipe to zoom. That sounds pretty cool. And the mute switch will swap out for the action button from last year's Pro iPhones. All of this built around the new A18 processor because the A17 Pro from last year's high-end iPhones was just too hard for TSMC to make. So you get a properly new one. What a win. And if the dummy models floating around are anything to go by, we might even get colours that you can notice, instead of white that looks a little bit different if the light is just right. Black, white, green, pink and blue are the colours that Guoming Chi has suggested, with another leak adding yellow and purple. But there's a chance that those were either tested and rejected, or that they're being considered for a mid-cycle upgrade later in the year. All round, though, this is a proper upgrade this year, not like the bizarre transition between iPhone 13 and iPhone 14, where Apple added 2 software features and then went back to bed. And then there are the big dogs, the iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max, and bigger is right. These get a display size bump from 6.1 and 6.7 inches to 6.3 and 6.9 inches, with slightly thinner bezels and slightly bigger cases, bringing those increases. Those displays may also get micro lens array technology, MLA, which uses a pattern of billions of lenses inside the panel to reduce internal reflection. Wild speculation here on my part, but that sounds almost like how lenticular displays work. Could they have retina spatial displays? Probably not, but how ace would that be if you could watch 3D content just on your iPhone screen? And if it happens, I'm for sure going to shout about this prediction. Ignoring the spatial stuff though, these lenses increase the perceived brightness and save power because all of the light that they're giving out gets sent towards your eyeballs. So that's going to be pretty good anyway. They'll also, of course, get the capture button, just like with the base model that we were talking about before. Add to that Wi-Fi 7 support for the Pros to have between 30 and 40 gigabits per second of wireless data transfer. If that also comes to the M4 based Macs later in the year, that is a supercharged version of AirDrop, even for huge ProRes video files, so the USB-C port that everyone was so excited about becomes redundant. And those videos could be looking even better too, with the ultra-wide camera getting an upgrade from 12 to 48 megapixels, matching the main shooter, and on the iPhone 16 Pro Max it will feature an 8-part hybrid lens. Add to that the 16 Pro regular size will inherit the 15 Pro Max's 5x telephoto lens with that tetraprism on the inside. The Pro models could also be getting faster charging, 40 watt wired and 20 watt MagSafe up from 27 and 15 watts respectively. The batteries themselves are said to have a new stainless steel casing that will allow the batteries to be up to 10% more energy dense, which also means that the iPhone 16 Pro Max will have the largest battery ever in an iPhone at 4676 milliamp hours. All of this to power the A18 Pro, which will likely feature an upgraded neural engine with substantially more cores, which will support several exclusive Apple Intelligence features that are reserved specifically for these iPhones, and potentially the M4 powered Max later in the year, and that iPad Pro, all of which will be revealed at the events this year. But what those will be, who knows? Apple has always held certain features back in reserve to launch with the new hardware, so that they have a real USP and reason for people to tip over the edge from a maybe to clicking that pre-order button. So drop your thoughts down in the comments section with hashtag iCaveAnswers if you've got a question about it. What are you most excited about at the event? And if the invite has dropped by the time you watch this video, what do you think it means? Thanks as always to the Patreons for your support, and I will see you all in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, I've told you twice already. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell.